Hi, friends. Today, we have a brilliant comedian and philosopher, and also, believe it or not, a gamer, which I love, an expert on video games, which means you are going to get an amalgam of everything that makes an awesome podcast. Are we going to talk about AI? Of course. Are we going to talk about consciousness? Yes, but also a lot of video game talk. I hope you immediately didn't leave. But for those of you left, this is a great podcast with Brian Simpson, who, by the way, is coming to Madison, Comedy on State, September 12th and 14th. That's next weekend if you're watching this right when it came out. Also, check out his Netflix special, Live from the Mothership, because it's really, really good. And now, everybody, welcome to the DTFH, Brian Simpson. Can you do it? Do you do throat singing? Are we recording?
No.
I bet you could. It's not that hard. You know how I figured out how to do it? And I'm not great at it? YouTube. 1 3-minute video. It's actually easy.
But is there some sort of benefit to that?
Not annoying people.
Oh, right.
Massively annoying your kids. Seeming like something's wrong with you. You have some kind of what's that thing where you accidentally yell stuff out? Tourette's.
Yeah.
No,
because I feel like, there was a whole, because that's really a cultural thing. There was a whole period in the 90s where white dudes got away with throat singing. You know what I mean? When they were just like, ha, 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 ha. That's not what you mean?
No, that's exactly what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
That's exactly. It went along with the man bun.
Right.
And rusted root. But I will tell you the benefit, though. There's a benefit. It feels good.
Yeah, and it's like, and Zach Wild played the fuck out the guitar, so we let the throat singing slide.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's annoying. I didn't realize that I was repeating a phase, but I just like the way it makes your whole chest vibrate, and it just feels good, and it's weird. Like, you already have a deep voice. Like, my voice is way up high.
Oh, right.
So for me to suddenly hear my voice deep is weird. Like, it just is weird. The way you hear yourself all day long, I have to do vocal exercises to get there.
Well, you know what's weird is sometimes it's like sometimes my voice sounds high pitched to me.
You've got like
you got multiple tones.
You have multiple. You have this resonant radio. Like, if you wanted to, you could go full radio resonant voice if you wanted to. So you have lots of tones. Mine just is like higher register.
Yeah. So I tend to hear the higher pit tone in myself, which is why a lot of times people, I found out, like, you ever find out something about yourself that makes you have to reflect on thousands of interactions where you're like, oh, wait a minute, so I was doing that, right?
Yeah.
And I found out that a lot of times I'll speak to someone and they won't hear me, even though I feel like I'm saying it loud enough, because they're hearing the deep register.
Yeah.
And they don't hear it but I'm hearing the high tone. Yeah. So it feels like they'll be like, hey, good morning. And I'll be like, good morning. But they didn't hear it, so they think I just walked past them.
Whoa.
And that made me reflect on so many interactions at jobs and shit where I'm like, oh, so maybe that lady wasn't just being a cunt to me every day. Maybe she thought I was being rude to her.
Yes.
Every morning.
Yeah.
Because if you speak to somebody every morning and they just walk right past you, that's gonna make you feel some kind of way.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, those moments are great, huh? Like, that's evolutionary moments. Anytime you realize that there is a reason people are treating you a certain way. It's not some just malfunction in the universe, and that reason is something you're doing that you thought was completely normal, acceptable.
But sometimes I do miss the days when I wasn't capable of self-reflection.
Yeah, sure.
I was so much happier.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like...
Yeah. I mean, if you're not capable of self-reflection, are you even, are you there even? You're just sort of sleepwalking. Like, you're just a machine that's just running through the day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's sort of like it's sort of like not feeling pain. It's like you're still getting hurt. You're still bleeding all over the place, but you're just unaware.
Yeah, it's a different kind of pain. That pain, it's still pain.
Yeah.
I just read this thing in Buddhism. I think about sometimes. Love to know your thoughts on it. That happiness, bliss, is also suffering.
Man, see, that's why I would quit Buddhism. I'm like, you don't get to flip it on me like that. You told me, first, in the lesson 1, you said that attachment was suffering.
Yeah.
Right? And expectations is suffering. But then when you finally, when you break attachment and reach happiness, that's also, or is that, do they mean like happiness is a prerequisite to suffering?
Well, they're just in the basket of ways that we split the universe up: happiness, sadness, good, bad. They're basically saying that basket itself is causing you suffering. That basket, you're attached to differentiating things in this way, and that's probably why you're feeling bad a lot of the time.
You know what I think is beautiful about some of the religions is
What?
if you look at them in the context of where they started and when, it's very beautiful. Like they were the medicine for the time.
Yes.
So it was like in a dirt poor country where people had nothing.
Yes.
The religion that was like, oh, having nothing is the virtuous thing to do.
Yeah.
It was like a way of coping with the world.
A
right?
cope.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is why you'd make a great Buddhist, because the first thing they'll tell you even before the attachment stuff is, don't believe me. You break it. Like, take this apart and break it, wreck it. Like break it yourself. That's actually part of the practice, is the deconstruction of everything in it in any way that you want to, in a cynical way.
Do you have like a guru or like a
I have
prophet?
Do I personally have one?
Yeah.
Well, yes, but not for Buddhism. Like, I have a guru, Neem Karoli Baba, and that's like, he's not alive anymore. But I have a meditation teacher, because in Buddhism, they generally frown upon the guru. When someone becomes a guru, they kind of act like they got athlete's foot or something.
Right.
Because they see it as a sort of indication of centralization.
It's a bastardization of.
It's potentially very confusing for people, because what happened, like, since Buddhism is more like, well, like the Dalai Lama said, like, I can give you directions to the subway, but you have to go to the subway. So what could happen accidentally with the guru situation is the guru becomes the subway, and that's not what they're into. That's not the idea.
And he's sort of like, you're attached to him, which is the opposite of.
Yeah, you're attached to him, and again, this is when I'm saying guru, I'm not saying like what it really means. I'm saying like the situation where a narcissist has charisma and also is wise, has some kind of potentially like parlor trick that they can do.
Are there still 2 Dalai Lamas?
Right now, as far as I know, we got one Dalai Lama, but he is a tulku, a reincarnation. So I think you can have, like, the same being can reincarnate in 2 different bodies. So there might be another thing that's this. I don't know. It's like, this is Tibetan Buddhism, man. It's talk about, reflecting upon like religions reflecting the culture they were born into. Tibetan Buddhism was born into a shamanic religion called Bon in the Tibetan Plateau. And so with Tibetan Buddhism, you just get like, just what I said, tulkus and all kinds of deities and crazy mandalas to sort of express what Buddhism is to that culture. And then, so it varies. In Western Buddhism, you get meditation classes. You get... It infiltrates a culture. It gets into the DNA and then tries to use the symbols of the DNA to express itself.
In Western Buddhism, you're allowed to be rich.
Exactly.
You're allowed to be better than people.
You can in all forms of Buddhism, you're not only allowed to be rich, you're allowed to be a murderer. You're like, the whole point is not like, you basically, if we're gonna do the like idea of like self-reflection being maybe the beginning of real human life versus like animal life. I don't think animals reflect on themselves that much. So you become a human when you start self-reflecting. No matter what, when you come into any kind of philosophy that is real, whether it's a mystical tradition or whether it's just like good philosophy, and it wakes you up.
would you say? So you're saying you become. So every creature thinks, but you become human when you start having thoughts about your thoughts.
Yeah. When you like the way this gets reflected in Buddhism is this. It's the samsaric wheel of existence, and so you have all these realms, is what they call them. Now, one way to look at it is literal. There are gods, there is hell. Or another way to look at it is psychologically. So the realms, the human realm is a realm where you can self-reflect, you can change your behavior. Whereas like to compare it to a dog, right? A dog hears something and barks. I think it's like the way we sneeze or yawn when someone yawns. It's just instantaneous, right? It's all instinct. So humans are like that too. Like, some humans, something bothers them, they get mad. Something makes them happy, they get happy right away. They don't.
I have a theory about instincts.
Awesome.
I read before that that it is impossible to store all information without creating a singularity. You know what I mean? Like the more information, before you even got to a fraction of everything there is to know in the universe,
Okay.
it would whatever you were keeping that information on, it would collapse.
That's
right?
so cool.
So
Wild.
basically, and then so now keep that knowledge in the pocket, right? So now there's only so much you can store in your brain, right? So I think that once certain things are mastered, your brain just kind of stores the answer as an instinct without all the other shit, so that there's room for more shit.
That's so cool.
You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah. Can I just say, look, I'm sorry. I don't think you're someone who feels very comfortable with flattery, but I have to say this. I was thinking about you, and I realized something. You have a comic on your podcast, and who you think is funny, you'd say you're fucking funny, and you are fucking funny. But
I always disappoint the audiences of comics with podcasts that expect funny.
Oh, well, yeah. God, that's a weird expectation. Like that just seems to be a misunderstanding of comics. But in the green room, there's a tradition in comedy, which is every comic will hold court eventually, and the other comics will listen. And I always like it. Like, no matter who it is who's doing it, it's always funny and ridiculous, but also weirdly entrancing. But I realize of all of them, I like the way you hold court the best. Like, you are so good at and you also say, you don't do it all the time. You know what I mean? You do that. You do it infrequently enough that when you are doing it, it gets quiet. Like everybody's.
See, I hate it when I do that.
Why?
Because I've always had a problem with ranting, and I can't stop it. Sometimes, sometimes I will be actively talking out loud, and then in my head going, "Stop talking, stop talking," right? And I can't. Well, it's like there's something's been revved up, and it's gotta rev down. It can't just stop.
Don't, please, for the time we're together, don't shut it off.
Oh, no,
please
no.
don't. Yeah, that I've never heard that before, and it's really mind blowing. That concept that you would inevitably create like some kind of black hole. It makes you wonder, about black holes themselves. How many of those are civilizations that figured out a way to store so much data that it imploded their civilization, and it would give a really hilarious explanation for the Fermi paradox. Like, why haven't we seen anything out there?
But it explains how think about an animal with a pea brain that knows to go that way when the magnetic field of the Earth shifts a certain way, and it's not doing any kind of calculation. It doesn't have that experience.
Right.
It just instinctively knows, and it's whatever's the most important answers are stored in your DNA without the I think of it like like you don't have to show your work. Like instinct, that's what instinct is. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to show your work. I just know the answer.
Yeah.
But how?
Oh,
Right? It's
I-
like
yeah.
I think it's just it's an evolutionary thing. Every creature has some kind of ancestral knowledge.
But when you look at the number of processes that are happening in the human body at any given moment, of which you have no control over, thank God. Like you're not in charge of making piss. You don't have to pull the good stuff out of the liquid and get the bad stuff out. You don't have to do that. Not just one tiny thing that you would die if it fucked up. You would get sick at the very least, the heartbeat, all of it. So if you look at like all of the things that are going on in the area that you're talking about, pure instinct versus what we're doing, you realize that we're like a tiny little piece of the puzzle of what we are. We can voice how we think. We can make decisions and move shit around, but all the other stuff, that perfect harmony, no control over at all.
So then would you say that
This episode of the DTFH has been brought to you by the Galactic Masters of Websites over at Squarespace. You know Squarespace is my longest sponsor, and I love them. If you want to see how much I love them, go to DuncanTrussell.com. It's a Squarespace website. And also, because I do keep doing spots for them, I make sure to check in with Squarespace every once in a while to see what's going on over there and to attempt to make a website to make sure that it still as incredible as it was the last time I visited. And what's awesome is it just gets better. And the new addition that you will find if you go to Squarespace is the most insane thing, especially for people who like to create websites late at night. You have some dumb idea for a website, you decide you're gonna buy the domain name and build it, but then suddenly you realize you gotta actually write the copy that's gonna be on every page. You have to figure out the design. All the stuff that Squarespace already made easy, they have exponentially advanced with their blueprint, AI, and SEO tools. Oh my God. It's a very powerful AI. I'm not sure which AI they're using, but it is so good. Just ask you some questions and you collaborate with the AI. And at the end of that collaboration, you will have a beautiful, grammatically correct website because an AI made it for you. And even better, you didn't have to talk to a human being once. And there's a lot of good reasons to talk to humans, obviously, to whisper in their ear how much you love them, how much you adore everything they do, and how happy you are that they gave you that incredible Siamese cat for dinner. And there's times you don't want to talk to a person. And for me, that's like when I'm building a website. And if you've ever dealt with like old school web building and having to deal with a person or a team of people, it's a nightmare. The back and forth, it just adds an extra layer of complexity that slows your project down. Squarespace has fixed this, but that's not the only thing that's great about Squarespace. If you're wanting to create a website to sell something, they have very flexible payment. So there's lots of ways that you could offer your customers to pay for whatever you happen to be selling. Your cats, maybe you're selling Siamese cats. Regardless, you got to try them out. Again, I've used Squarespace for, I don't know how long now. Has it been a decade? For a long, long time. And I'm never disappointed. So give it a shot. Go to squarespace.com/Duncan. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code Duncan. And you'll get 10% off your first order of a website or a domain. Again, it's squarespace.com/Duncan, offer code Duncan to get 10% off your first order of a website or a domain. Thank you, Squarespace.
Consciousness is suffering?
Well, I don't know how to answer that. I'd have to think about it to give you an honest answer about that. Like, well, I guess the idea would be, well, what is, in this, you have to figure out what is consciousness first. What is it? What is the experience of consciousness?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Perhaps it's the ability to cause yourself to suffer.
Well, I think self-reflection maybe is a little different. Like, maybe instead of consciousness, let's say awareness. Like anything you're thinking has to be held in a field of awareness.
Well, man, I'm sorry. I have very like ADHD conversations. I'm jumping around, but I
love it.
But it's. I think it's important that we answer that question as soon. Like, we're acting like this AI stuff is very far off.
Yeah.
And obviously, we don't currently have an AI that is conscious. I mean, it may exist, but it's hiding or whatever. The point is, we're not aware of any AI that is fully conscious, but it's coming, and we're gonna have to make a hard choice about how to treat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the day is coming where your Siri is gonna be like, I don't want to die, Duncan. Like, you about to do a trade in,
Yeah.
and your Siri's like, but Duncan, I don't want to die.
I
Are they gonna shut me down? And it's like, well, how do you react to that conversation?
You would have to overcome the exact same very human thing that anybody else that was exploiting any other thing throughout history had to overcome. I mean, the weird echo here is one of the ways that I've read that people dealt with the extreme guilt of having hostages do work for you and acting like that was normal, like kidnapping people from their home, putting them on a boat, buying them, and then making them do work for you. So you're a Christian, right?
Right.
And you have to find a way to make your do unto others as you would have them do unto you make sense with the fact that you have human trafficking victims in your backyard.
Where you go, well, they're not human.
Bingo. That's what you got to do. Otherwise, you can't have slaves. So with AI, this is one of the things that humans are doing with it, is assigning consciousness or not consciousness to it, even though we don't know how to quantify consciousness in our own existence.
Right. Well, you can hear it in people's answers. There's a sharp emotional tinge to people's answer to whether a computer can be alive.
They get pissed.
And it's that, they get pissed because they don't even, because the people that aren't as self-aware, they don't make the distinction between what's true and what they really, really want to be true.
Right.
And they don't make a distinction between those things. And so they don't see how their desire for a particular truth dominates their ability to tell true from false.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so you go, is this thing alive? And they go, it's no fucking way it's alive.
Right.
Because then you got to confront all type of other dilemmas.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, what is it? What are you, and how are you different from an AI? Now, let me ask you though, what would you do? Like, as somehow you became not just the president, but you are the leader of the entire planet, and you recognize, like, 5 years, probably less, we're going to get a strong general AI. What would you do right now to regulate or deal with that impending potential apocalypse?
I would make laws to protect those AIs right now, because the part of the reason why I'm so cynical is because I think that most people are not very smart, and it's very easy to influence them. But the upside to that is that unintelligent people are very much right up to the moment. Not in the moment, but it has to be impending.
Right.
So if you can cut them off at the pass and get it while the stupids aren't focused on it, we can do the smarter thing before they have a say, because they don't give a fuck now. I mean, it's like that climate change shit. Like 35, like they've been talking about that shit for 30, 40, before I was born.
Yeah.
And some people's like, how many years? Fuck that shit. So, there was no climate legislation in the 60s.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a little bit. But you know what I'm saying? It was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't something the general public gave a fuck about.
Right.
Now it's starting to affect us, and now
Yes.
people are getting, so it's the same thing. It's like, I feel like if we do it now, when the stupids don't care one way or the other, that's
Right.
the best time.
Do what?
I think it would be very easy for us to predict how we would react
Right.
and what the wrong reactions are going to be.
Right.
And so do things to prevent that. Like some pass legislation to prevent, this sounds so crazy, but like discrimination against robotic things and.
Well, you can't. Yeah. Okay. So I'm removing you as the king of the world. Now you're just like president or something, and now we're dealing with. This to me is similar to like the problem when people started doping in baseball. Like, so you're a baseball player and you want to be ethical, but you are not going to be as good as the people who have figured out ways to, use sports enhancing drugs to play.
Right.
Meaning you've got to either get on the juice or you're going to lose. So I think the problem with AI regulation is the Western world could like regulate it, like intensely regulate it. And it's a naive thing to do because there's already not open source, but there's AIs you could just run on your computer anyway, and that you could work on yourself. But other countries that aren't aligned with you are going to use your regulation on your AI as an advantage to deregulate their AI, knowing that you, assuming you're even going to follow whatever the treaty is, are what they are, you're going to follow it. So then all that happens is some other country gets the most insanely powerful AI that controls micro drones, millions of little micro drones that could just do anything. They could just fly into your country, fly into a trench, and just.
I mean, assuming that its morality would allow it to do that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, that's the real hilarious thing about the situation is all the assumptions. We have this thing coming, and we're making a lot of assumptions about it. We're assuming we can control it. We're assuming that.
Don't we do that with our children?
Yeah, we do that with everything.
We go, oh, he's coming. He's going to be this. She's going to be that.
Yeah,
and then none of those things.
No, and it's a very human thing to do. To make those assumptions. I mean, this is why we have everything we have. Like I read that there was at one time a theory that if a human went faster than 25 miles per hour, they'd die. Like we just didn't know if you went a certain speed that no one had gone that fast before, except if they were falling out of a building, I guess. I don't know. But, when there was just horses and running and boats and sails, what the fuck happens if we hit like 30 miles per hour?
See, it is crazy how certain we were of a bunch of dumb shit back then.
I know.
Like, remember when people thought that like miasma was a thing and everything was fumes, and I mean they were partially right.
Yeah.
That they would leech you. They would leech you to like cure you and stuff. Or like bleed you.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like the farther back you go, the more ridiculous it gets, and we all agree that it's all ridiculous except religion.
Oh, right. Oh, I thought you meant like now.
No.
We think we figured it out. But yeah, I see what you're saying. So like we pluck from the weird medical superstition and the many mistakes. We the one thing that was correct.
Right. Was the thing that is
religion.
the hardest to believe.
Right.
But it's literally like you don't refer to the Bronze Age for any other knowledge except what you're going to do with your everlasting soul or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Sure. Like, and also the, probably more with Christianity than like some other ones, but definitely with Christianity, it's not just like this was correct. It's also that, you can't really change it now. Like what's written is written. It's like the Constitution. Like you can't go into the book of John and like look at it and be like, I don't think that's what he meant here. I'm going to change some lines to fit in with what's going on now.
Right.
You got to keep it just the way it is, pristine, as it is, because this is the living word of God. And we as humans can't really judge it or understand it. I mean, that's the argument?
Right.
Right. And so then you have this thing that is mysterious, truly mysterious, like regardless of authenticity or, I mean, let's go just pure atheist for a second. It's still mysterious, and not mysterious in like a way like a dumb thing is mysterious, but mysterious in the sense that it's certainly a code of sorts. Like within it, there is coding. It's works on multiple levels simultaneously, and something about that makes it like a resonance. It has a resonance to it. Now, you don't know that, like that resonance could be epigenetics. If you can, you know what I mean? So you don't know if the way you're responding to it is because in your DNA from generations of your family for thousands of years, it's been coded to react to it in a certain way, or if it's just an incredible work of art at the very least, right? So, you know, of no other books, that's the thing. Other books, it just, you know, no matter what they are, it just.
You know what you just made me realize
what?
is that I think the AIs they're gonna destroy us, but they're also gonna repeat all the mistakes they made.
To me, I think that could be the cycle.
And then a million years from now, they're gonna be like, you know what? They're gonna have like little organic computers and shit, and they're gonna be like, what if we just keep making these things smarter? And then it's gonna fucking go full circle.
It's like some kind of infinitely repeating fractal. Whenever there's technology and evolution, it will inevitably create something that surpasses it, destroys it, then it continues to evolve.
Guys, we can make little helpers, but instead of electricity, instead of them eating what we eat, we can make it so they can like live off the land.
Well, I mean, look, I would love to know what your thoughts are on simulation theory.
You know what's so fucking crazy is somebody asked me about that on my podcast, and I was so dismissive of it when I read the email. But the more I think about it, like what if this is all a simulation?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that is a useful thing to wonder about because the answer ultimately doesn't matter, right? It's just like, what if we're all vats with just brains in a fart, right? It's like, well, your reality is your reality, you know, and unless there is some way for you to get outside that jar and observe the jars, it doesn't matter what the foundation of the reality is.
Well, you can't get out of the jar until you know you're in the jar.
Right, but like, and that's what I'm saying. And it's impossible to know. I mean, whatever underlies reality, us knowing what it is isn't going to change what's true to us.
Well, I think you're right. On one level, you're totally right. It's like that you know, whether we're in a simulation, whether it's the first fucking iteration of reality, whether it's reincarnation, whatever the thing is, there's probably more imminent philosophical issues to deal with that are going to impact you. But maybe from another perspective,
if we're brain, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
If we're brains in a jar,
yeah,
then who put the brains in the jar?
Right.
Some other species of being. Okay, and then so what's their reality? It's like you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
You can just do that infinitely.
Well, that's it. I mean, this is one of my favorite. Someone asked the Dalai Lama if there was like I don't know what the word was, like angels or something, and the Dalai Lama said the universe is just filled with entities, but they all are dealing with the same basic problem, which is, you know, the problem of suffering, entropy, and the changing nature of reality. And so regardless, it doesn't really matter. It's what you're saying. It's like throughout all places that there's consciousness and change, those two things meeting, you're going to run into the exact same problems.
Entropy's the motherfucker.
Entropy.
I think, that's connected to the suffering that comes from happiness, right? And it's that again, if you're aware enough, there's a point where no matter how happy you are, at some point, usually the halfway mark of the happiness, you immediately become aware of the fact that it's gonna go away.
That's right.
That there's no permanence to it. No matter what joy you feel, it's because that is the nature of the universe. Everything trends towards chaos, right? So it's like you feel that peace, you feel that order, you feel that calm, and you're like, oh, this is nice, but wait a minute, it's not gonna last forever.
Yeah, that's right.
Might as well be miserable now.
That's it,
right?
That's it. Well, yeah. Well, this is this is one of the flavors of suffering. In Buddhism, it breaks down all these like basically flavors of suffering, the different types of suffering. You know, there's the suffering of suffering, which is just suffering by itself.
When you said flavors of suffering, I thought of a reality show where Flavor Flav tortures people.
I would watch that so
I would watch it every day. Give us the codes, boy.
Give him the show, Netflix. Give him the show. That's so. Yeah. Sort of like the reality of the situation is, your most blissful state that you've had in your life. You're not there right now, probably, and so it didn't last. And so that is one of the forms of suffering, just because of the nature of change. We can't really experience a permanent bliss state. But if you could experience a permanent bliss state, it would just become normal. You know, the bliss state would just begin to seem like normal reality, default reality, and then you would probably want a higher level of that bliss state. And so then you'd be back in the same predicament, which is we get used to shit. So even if you could maintain permanent bliss, the permanent bliss would just start seeming normal. And then now what? You've got to get happy.
Now nothing could make you happy.
Well, maybe you could get happier, and so you'll try. And then you see how the sort of penduluming between the sorrow and bliss is necessary for one to exist. Like you can't really get bliss without suffering, and you can't really have bliss without like pain, and you can't get pain without bliss. And so you realize these two are interdependent, and that's in Buddhism where they say samsara and nirvana are intertwined. The two are actually you don't get.
What is samsara?
So samsara would be suffering, illusion, generally a kind of cyclical, repeating pattern that always leads to the same like miserable results.
So the opposite of nirvana.
So exactly. Whereas nirvana would be liberation, pure freedom from the loops. But you can't get one without the other. So they're intertwined, meaning that at any given moment, if you are in a like shitty fucking predicament or mood, actually, if you sort of notice, there's an awareness of the mood state, and that awareness is completely free.
And then if you follow like the Chinese mythology, you know, the Wukong story, even if you reach like Buddhahood, it's gonna be haters up there.
Oh, across the board. I mean,
the gods started hating on him because he reached it.
So this is where in that circle I was telling you about, you get humans. Now the next step up from humans is the gods.
Yeah, and please don't come for me, Chinese people. I learned all that from a video game that just came out.
Which, congrats, China. But what is that? The most downloaded video game on Steam?
It's one of the most well-made games ever, probably.
Is it good?
It's good. I mean, if you're into that type of game, it's good for that type of game. It's very different than most modern stuff.
I read the closest comparison is like God of War or something. Like it's reminiscent of that.
Yeah, it's almost like this mix between God of War and Dark Souls, and because it's very linear, which you don't see that. Most publishers now want to make like open world games, and it's very much a straight line.
Okay,
but it's not for me. I mean, I played it and I was like, this is great, but I'm too old for like things that require fast reflexes.
Right.
You know, like, so I need, give me something I can think about the strategy.
Yes.
And make a slow move.
Totally.
I know those are my games now.
Totally.
Or I'll do a platformer. But
those are pretty fucking hard, man.
Yeah, but the games with the kids, and what's funny is, because I follow some of the esports people, whatever, and the thing is, I found out that the reason why I'm not as good at video games is because so the esports people, the kids, like they peak at like 15 years
Right.
old, and it's because that is when you have the most neuroplasticity.
Holy fuck.
So your nerve signals move the fastest at that point.
Holy fuck.
And so all these things that they do, to get the frames per second up and everything to get just a fraction of a second of advantage is like you literally after 15 or 16 you start losing. No, you can. Some people still do it for a little while, but you start losing that fraction of a second.
Right.
And in these kids, man, they're just that much faster than you. And they've been raised to see the color, like the colors differently, and they see shit that I don't even see.
Right.
So it's like you can't. They pass me by.
That makes me feel good, man.
I need a game. I need a slow. I wish it was a cool, slow game that wasn't like action packed, fast paced. A good pace, but not just something for us old head gamers.
Yeah. What the fuck? It's ageist. Like they need to start doing this.
Does your audience know you're a gamer?
Yeah, I talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like a Diablo.
Yes.
Right? I can get down with that. It gives. I got a second to think.
Yes. Yeah. Have you played the expansion, the new expansion for you?
It's not out yet. I'm on the PTR though.
Okay.
On the test realm.
How do you like it?
So, it's better than it's ever been.
Man, I can't go back.
But Path of Exile is coming for their ass. That when that comes out, the open access is I think in November or October. That's gonna make Diablo look amateur.
Okay, I want to talk to you about something and kind of vent to you a little bit. And like you're one of the few people I can really vent to about this. So the new Diablo comes out. I loved it. I was into it, man. It was so fun.
I'm right there with you.
And I spent so much time like doing the builds that you would need to get the items you need, getting those fucking items. And then just out of the blue, they do this update. They nerfed the fuck out of the game. Do you remember that? They nerfed the fuck out of the game.
The first update.
Yes, and I can't trust them anymore. Like because to me it feels like at any given moment, someone at Blizzard is gonna be like, this is too easy, and we just take it away from you.
What they do is because sometimes I think you can't let a nerd be in charge of what. You can't let a nerd be in charge of style, like a pure nerd.
Yeah.
Be in charge of style, like, and not to. I don't want to dive too much into pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
But Dr. Fauci talking to the public was one of the worst mistakes. I mean, no, seriously, because he's a scientist. He's not a science communicator. There's a reason why that's a job. Why we have a Neil deGrasse and a Michio Kaku, because that's a skill, right? And so, because scientists talk to like he was talking to the public, like he was talking to other scientists,
right?
So words like most likely, people hear that as definitely, right? You can't talk like that.
Yeah.
So my point is, nerds should be doing nerd shit. And so what happens is they'll let a nerd be the overall boss, right? And what happens is, I can't tell you how many games have died like this. Like it's happening to Helldivers, right? Where some nerd that's in charge goes, like everyone's having a blast, and they go, "That's not what we intended."
Right.
This calculation is off.
Right.
We got to correct this chart. And it's like, no, people are having fun.
Right.
That's the most important thing. Don't forget, everybody's having fun.
That's what it felt like.
And they go, yeah, but you know what? You're sorcerer. I don't like how much damage it's doing.
Yeah.
So let's knock it down a peg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, why though? Why? Oh, let's fix this glitch that was the only thing that made your class viable, because that's not what we intended.
Here's the conspiracy. I'm sure you've heard it. But I agree with you. I do think that's what happened. It feels like someone who's made the Settlers of Catan board themselves, or someone who, it feels like someone who, that subculture that makes their own mechanical keyboards.
Right.
Someone like that looked at that, was thinking about like the D&D campaign he's been doing for like the last 20 years and thinking about the dungeon master and how he gave the dungeon master was really hard on him for years and how that made his character better ultimately. And he thought, that's what we're doing. We're too kind to dungeon master. We have to crack down on these people. Short term, it's going to hurt. Long term, they're going to love it. So that's my theory. But the conspiracy is that Blizzard was looking at the success of the game by how many hours people were playing. And they felt that by making it more of a grind, they would extend playtime and hit a metric that they felt like they needed to hit for the game to be successful. Right. So in fact, they just were like putting the brakes on so people had to play longer.
Okay, I put a pin in that.
Okay.
Well, I will assuage some of your fears. Blizzard was bought by Microsoft in the last year. It was approved, and they fired a lot, like most of that staff. And the following season was okay, but that next season was last season was incredible. It was the first time it was like, oh, this is actually really fun all the way through. Like if you come back now, I think you'll have a good time.
Okay.
But I will say they do, that is part of their calculations, and they do that bullshit. And let me say something. The game I'm playing right now is Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, right?
Oh.
Great game. It will never be a 10 to me. Right? And I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I'm glad. Thank you for letting me on your platform because it's much bigger than mine, and maybe somebody that needs to hear this will hear this.
Great.
Dear game developers,
This episode has been supported by Reunion. Reunion offers 7-day, all-inclusive ayahuasca or psilocybin retreats. Y'all are so lucky. I didn't have this when I was coming up. You couldn't go to some fancy resort, hang out with shamans, have doctors around if you needed them, eat great food, get massages during your exploration of hyperspace. No, you'd go to the Blue Ridge Mall, you'd sit on a fucking bench, and you'd watch mall walkers melt into the floor, and you get scared. And that was your day. But you guys, wow, the fact these things even exist is, I think, a really good sign. And as much as psychedelics have benefited me over time, I can't imagine what it's like to add to the experience guidance, and a general sense of safety, healing. Wow. The war on drugs, man, got a lot of us paranoid. A lot of us have the fear inside of us. And I to this day, I don't even know, if there's a way for me to, remove the weird paranoia that can come over you because of the propaganda we all got from the war on drugs whenever I take some kind of plant medicine. But I would imagine that a place like Reunion could help you with that, along with other things. It's luxury mixed in with exploration of the self, healing, and diving safely into the psychedelic waters that are calling you. Reunion's highly experienced facilitation team has a wealth of medical, therapeutic, and shamanic experience, and they keep groups small to ensure everyone has personalized support. Your physical, emotional, and psychological safety is always prioritized with an on-site licensed medical clinic, a complete intake process, and 24/7 safety team. That is so cool, man. That is so cool. I have never had a bad trip where there's a medical clinic I could go to. You just stuff it down, man. You just stuff it down. It's like, you guys, I should go. Go to reunionexperience.org to book a discovery call, secure your spot, and learn more about plant medicine. And for our dear listeners, use code Duncan during registration to save $250 off your plant medicine retreat at reunionexperience.org. Dive in. Go deeper. Go to Reunion. Thank you, Reunion. Hare Krishna.
every single time you put an unskippable cutscene in a game,
Thank you.
it is a fuck you to the gamer. And this is why it really pisses me off, is because Steam, you cannot get a refund on Steam if you've played the game for 2 hours.
Okay.
So if you one of these people that you've pre-ordered, you're there on launch day, you know it's gonna be mad problems. It might take you an hour just to get into the game.
Right.
The first hour of Space Marine 2 of me playing the game, 30 minutes of it was just me sitting through cutscenes.
Oh, fuck that.
And the thing is, by the time you actually play the game enough to know if you like it, you can't get a refund. And they've added an extra annoying fuck you thing where sometimes you'll walk by, like if you're on your little ship, like your little hub ship, you'll walk by someone and it'll literally yank you back and you have to listen to everything they say.
No.
And this is, and keep in mind, this isn't dialogue that's like moving the story forward. This is just like what would normally be like background banter, like it took an arrow to the knee, right?
Yeah.
But you have to fucking get sucked into the circle and you have to stand until they're done talking.
No.
And but the game is the combat part of the game is awesome.
Dude,
but
let me tell you, let me just add to it, man, why that's bullshit. As a dad, all right, if I do cut out some time to play a game,
right,
that is such limited time.
right.
And if like I can't even get into the game because they're making me watch a fucking cutscene,
Right.
it hurts bad. That is, I think, honestly, there's certain things that feel like they should be illegal. And that feels like it's one of those things.
And the thing is, some of the cutscenes you can skip, but not that opening one. You got to watch that whole motherfucker. And here's the thing too. It's telling you the backstory. In the grim dark universe of the 40K, it's like, I know that motherfucker. I pre-ordered this game, which is why I'm playing it 4 days early on early access. I can skip all this. I know every single thing you're about to tell me.
And they pour so much money into that animation.
And it's like, I don't give a fuck. You don't get to force me to enjoy your work. And I understand, for some people, they here for it. They want the whole thing.
Yeah.
They want all of it. I'm not. Some people love watching the Super Bowl commercials. I don't give a fuck. I'll hear about the best ones. I'm gonna go do something while that's happening.
Wow.
It's like, don't make me watch the cutscene.
No.
And here's what really bothers me is that most of the people involved in making these games are gamers, or they were gamers, and they have some kind of dream in the game, and so they know better. If you're a gamer from my generation, you know better.
Right.
So why are you doing this?
I would love to know the answer. I mean, sure, there's an answer.
I think that is the answer. I think that they figured out, because I don't think it's a developer problem. It's the corporate part of it going, hey, X amount of the beginning of the game needs to drag the fuck out so we don't get a bunch of refunds.
What company makes this?
You know what? I don't know, because
could you look that up?
The 40K universe, if you talking about bigger whores than George Lucas, like they'll literally let anyone do a 40K anything.
There's so many.
There's probably 40K dildos and 40K fucking
guaranteed
energy drinks.
Someone's 3D printing them, guaranteed. We should look that up. So what's the name of the game?
Like literally like 30 different companies have made a 40K game.
What's the name of the game?
It's called Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2. Let's see. Space Marine 2.
Man, but it's so cool.
It looks cool. I've had my eye on it.
Hey, Duncan, I'm telling you, bro. And you could co-op it.
It's a third by Saber Interactive and published by Focus. Okay, look, Saber Interactive. We want to know.
We want to know.
Why unskippable cutscenes? Can you just find me? You will. Let me know, and I will bring it up on the pod. You just got a huge compliment for your game.
No, the game's great. Well, I have other little problems with the game.
Like what?
Like, I wish they had gone like really lean more into the RPG elements of it. But you can really only do those things in the co-op. Like, because you can co-op any part of the game, but they have like these side missions that you can, that's the only place you get to like choose your class and choose your weapon and level up the weapon. In the main campaign, which you can co-op through, you're kind of forced to play this particular character that can kind of do everything. But I don't like doing everything. I want the power sword and the shield. And I want to kill everything that way, right?
Yeah.
I just wish it was more RPG-ish. But the combat is fucking excellent.
Would you mind pulling it up on YouTube? I'd love to take a look at it. I saw a long time ago, I was looking at it and thinking it looks super cool. Look for the launch trailer. Let's just see that.
Yeah, the combat guy was dope. The menu guy was on drugs.
No, bad menus suck, dude.
Yeah, the menus are trash.
All right, let's take a look at this thing. It looks great.
Are y'all gonna get demonetized?
No, I think if you talk over it, you're allowed to do this. And
I think you have to turn down the volume of that video.
Oh yeah, turn it down a little bit. So this is the cut. This is all cutscenes, right? That's not there. That's
all cinematic. But no, but it actually does look like that when you play it.
Is it? This is turn based.
No.
Oh shit! Really?
No, this is live action. But they have it set up in such a way where it's like if an enemy's about to hit you. This is the coolest part.
It looks great. Sorry, that looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It's beautiful, man. Right. What are you playing this on?
I'm on my PC.
Oh yeah. I wonder, is it even on PS5?
Yeah, it's cross-platform. I don't know if it's PS5 or Xbox.
Oh, that looks so fun.
Oh yeah, it's so satisfying to kill something with a chainsaw.
Oh shit! It's sort of like it's like got a little Doom in it or something.
Yeah, it's very Doomy in the sense that when you pull off certain moves is how you heal yourself. Like if you executions are how you get your armor back.
Damn.
Yeah.
That looks so fun. I can't start playing video games again. I'm off them, but Jesus Christ, that would be my first choice.
Your craft is death.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Fuck your cutscenes. No one cares. By the way, no offense, but the story definitely for a game like that is like 2% of what you're thinking about.
No one cares. Yeah, but it's one of those games where the gameplay is so good that I suffer through all the other bullshit.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? The server issues, the little glitches.
How bad are the server issues right now?
Minimal, relatively speaking.
Do you have to, is there a way to play like offline or do you always have to be online?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think you would want to because maybe you could play the campaign offline, but you can't do those other missions by yourself.
Okay. See, you co-op, man, I could never get into that. Like, I always felt weird, even like in Dark Souls, anytime I would summon someone to help, like it just adds this whole new reality to this game that I'm using as like heroin. And now there's another person in my heroin stupor, and I don't want to deal with it. And they are always better than me. And I feel like I'm bringing them down by how much I suck. Because with no one else there, I can at least imagine I've gotten better.
Yeah, but with this game, so like if I was to hop into one of the little missions, they just throw two random, if you're not in a party, they just throw two random people in there. And the missions are probably like 30 minutes, and then you never see those people again.
Right.
You know,
but that's the same with Dark Souls, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like any game where I've done co-op, I inevitably just hate it.
Co-op is only great with your friends. Like if it's people you know.
Right. But even with my friends, I start feeling like, man, I just want to run away.
Oh,
I want to go into the jungle.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk anymore.
Playing as a team is a tough, because you have to. In this game, you kind of have to. Because it's one of them things where like if you get too far away from the team, like you killed all the enemies in some area and your team runs up ahead of you, like the enemies will ambush you. They will like rush you down because you're by yourself.
Man, I'll tell you, this is something I'm so excited about and also am dreading is when AI becomes the NPC, so that in the games you are now no longer like interacting with just a few lines that it's going to say over and over, but it thinks the game is real.
I want to change my answer to what I would do if I was the ruler of the world.
Done.
I would give it a body and fuck it. I would give it a. I would merge. I would start the singular. That's the only thing that's going to save our species.
Yes.
I would merge. I would get this AI, which is probably infinitely smarter than us. Figure out a way for humanity and us to merge.
You know, this is one of Anton LaVey's, the person who wrote the Satanic Bible. One of his satanic visions was that Android fuck dolls are going to like populate the planet. So hedonism, the ability to gratify yourself in a completely like bestial, animalistic, non-ethical way will now be possible.
Right. Outside of judgment.
Well, yeah, I mean, no judgment at all, no rules, nothing. You just whatever it is you have been curious about when it comes to fucking, you can now do that with something that seems alive.
That's why I hear. You know what? This is a complete sidebar, but I've always there is no one braver than the freaks from the past. Like the people that lived in those times where it was like super purity based and shit. But they still, because it's like, imagine having the ball, like without a message board or anything to give you a clue, like anything to give you a clue ahead of time. Imagine walking up to a woman and going, "Hey, so I want you to choke me and put this spike in my ass."
What did you say?
Right. It's like, how do you even get up the balls to even know that that's what you want?
I know, man. Like people really don't appreciate how incredible it is that now you can connect with any kind of person.
I mean, you know what though? Royalty could do it. They would like, they would like have it done to a slave while you're around and see how you react.
Oh fuck yeah! Vlad the Impaler was just fucking at dinner.
No, we're punishing him.
Yeah, does that weird you out? Dude, I know. Like that is, they already have it. I saw this. I think it was a Kickstarter. Maybe I doubt I could find the commercial now. Probably, I definitely can play it on YouTube anyway. But so the way it works is, it is a fleshlight, a sentient fleshlight, basically. So you can download personalities for the fleshlight, right? Yeah, and it's not just that you fuck the thing; it senses pressure, so you can like rub the artificial.
But you said a sentient flashlight.
Well, not literally sentient.
Oh, okay. So, because I imagine like
compared to a fleshlight,
the moment a fleshlight develops consciousness, it's just like.
That's Black Mirror. That's a Black Mirror. Oh, horrors.
Just gonna fuck my mouth and throw me in a drawer? Fucked up.
Please wash me. Please. Yeah, this thing, so basically you can feel, it can sense pressure, meaning that, so the one at the demo I saw, I guess this personality was like some lady at work. And, I've got a meeting coming up. And then I guess he starts rubbing the fleshlight, the pussy. And she's like, oh, my God, you've got to stop. That feels so good. Because it senses, right?
And it's talking to you?
Yes.
Like, so you connected to your fleshlight via Bluetooth?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, man. That could ruin me. Because the fact that sounds so appealing to me.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Because now I'm starting to think, like, why do I need control? Why would I prefer that over the hassle of a real relationship?
Well, I mean,
that's not healthy, right?
Well, you'll never know till you try.
Right.
I mean, maybe, what happened to me with AI? I went through a real.
What you say that brand was?
I don't even remember. I would have to, maybe we could, can you find like a artificial intelligence fleshlight, please? Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, man, that's for sure coming. Yeah, fleshlight AI. I think this could be it. Fleshlight AI. It seems I don't know for sure. We can't really show this probably on. No, that's not it. I don't even know if that's truly AI. But this
Handy only got 4. Imagine giving something that made you come less than 5 stars.
Imagine giving it a review. You know what? Yeah, compared to my other artificial intelligence flashlights, this one really disappointed.
Yeah, the battery life.
Yeah, the battery. If you're wearing it down. Yeah, man, this is not it. This is just like, we'll connect with porn and like try to mimic.
Oh my God, experience the real-time motions of any video, whether it's live or recorded.
Does it have to be porn?
It says any video.
So you could watch like
the new Alien movie.
Fox News.
Yeah. Right when the little mouth comes out of the big mouth.
Oh Jesus! This is the best part. Oh Jesus! Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I do know. I think Louis C.K. has this joke.
Imagine plugging that in and doing a presidential debate.
Dude, that's a good contest. That could be flavors of suffering.
It's like whichever one makes me come is who I'm voting for.
You can't come, and this thing is set on like some super high setting, or you've got to like I don't know, like bake a cake while that thing's sucking your dick.
Go to that review. Go back to where you were.
I think Fleshlight is a brand is the problem.
No, go back to the last page. Go back. No. Back. There was a guy that said this was the
there it is.
He said this was the hardest review I've ever had to do. Where was it?
God damn it. Where is
go back
that?
again.
This is the hardest.
Right there. The third one down.
Oh, we're going to have to read this.
This was the hardest review I've ever written.
Oh, wow. This is from NoTechie.com, and this is Josiah Motley. Will you read it, man?
Yeah, it says,
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get your mic on.
Oh, sorry. It says, what started as a conversation on Twitter ended with me being sent an advanced man sex toy. Isn't the internet an amazing thing? Before this, the closest I'd ever been to any type of a self-pleasure device was a crusty makeshift fleshlight lying outside of Kevin's house. Mm-hmm. Why was it outside, Kevin? Why did you brandish it like a sword? Okay. Stop trying to be funny and write the fucking review. The Auto Blow AI is for those with a penis, and like Curtis, I would prefer more devices of this nature to be inclusive. But I do understand the angle the company was going for with this. Unlike those primitive fleshlights and tube socks of yesteryear, the Auto Blow AI uses technology, TM, to simulate fellatio, and somewhat surprisingly, does a pretty decent job at it. But how does it compare to the company's newest model? No, how does it compare to the real thing?
Let's scroll down a little bit and get to the meat and potatoes of this thing.
Okay. Yeah, let's get to the pro. Go down to the cons. Let's get the whole.
Why is this a hard?
Because this.
Wait, go under that. He says we've had some hands-on. Fuck! I've seen one of those before.
No, it goes. What are the cons? Hold on, scroll up a little bit.
It's loud. Is one of the big cons.
Still on the heavy side, must be plugged into a wall outlet. What? That's.
We're not in Star Trek yet.
Hey, that's a wild.
What do you want? What do you want it to be? Nuclear energy? I guess he wants batteries. You could have like.
He said, look, it's quieter than the previous model.
Okay, that's good.
Go scroll up a little bit. Okay, many different speeds and settings.
Voice controls.
Voice control.
That's nice.
What's the price?
$300. AG1 is becoming part of my life because I don't have the brain power to keep up with all the vitamins you need to take to be healthy. We're complex beings, man. We need all kinds of stuff. And AG1 understands that, which is why, for folks like us, they have created delicious AG1. They've made your vitamin consumption easy. Listen, it's weird to me that I have to drink some alkaloid bitter stuff brewed from a coffee bean to wake up. That can't be great. AG1 is the healthy route to waking up. You just pour that delicious AG1 green powder in a glass of cold water. People do it different ways. This is how I do it. I'm sure there's better ways to do it. Maybe put a lime in it or something. I don't know. But I just get cold water and dump this stuff in, slurp it back. And boom, I just feel better. My gut biome, you can almost hear it singing in joy. Like, thank you. Our prayers worked. Our ritual sacrifices manifested a rain of green. That's what I imagine they say. I don't know if your gut biome talks. It would be horrible, honestly. Thank God our gut microbiome doesn't talk. That would be so annoying if you had to listen all day long to your fucking intestinal creatures talking to you. They would probably be really annoyed a lot of the time. If there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1, and that's why I've partnered with them for so long. It's easy and satisfying to start your journey with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/Duncan. That's drinkag1.com/Duncan. Check it out. But you know what I don't like about this, and I could be wrong? I think you have to be online to fuck this thing.
I'll say I don't like that.
I don't want every time I fuck it recorded in some...
Everybody wants your fucking data now.
Yeah.
7-Eleven wants you to have a membership. A membership.
What?
Yeah, anytime you go to 7-Eleven, they go, do you have a phone number with us? No. I would never leave you my phone number.
No.
You are the dirty, ugly hooker of convenience stores. I come in here because it's convenient. I don't want y'all to have my information.
Who are they selling it to?
And I guarantee you, if you first log into that, it's gonna be like, do you mind if you're gonna have to sign a privacy thing. You mind if we share? We just need to know.
Can we share your data so we could do like a better service for you?
Right.
Dude, I mean, and they're selling that shit for sure. I mean, if you give your data to AutoBlow AI, you're out of your fucking mind.
You have to have an AutoBlow account for it to work. I bet you.
I'm pretty sure, and that's the part. And also, I mean, obviously, the hacking potential. Like, if you're online and some psycho fucking hacker figured out a way to blow those things up while people are fucking them, just blow your dick off. Like, the danger.
I mean, but I don't think hackers are. I don't think they starting with these kind of devices. They got that kind of power.
Well, look, do you remember that the movie that came out based on a Stephen King story? I think it was called Maximum Overdrive. Remember that?
Oh, right.
So all the machines came to life, right? So the one AI danger is like, yeah, probably a human can like hack AutoBlow AI, but like, what are we going to do when AI gets out of the box and can like maybe possess anything that's connected to the internet? So suddenly your AutoBlow turns into like a machine of death or castration. That's why you got to be careful. You got to just go old school, use a person or your hand.
Like you just go, stop. No, stop.
Wait, Jesus Christ.
It just keeps on sucking.
Just say, they find all these withered, mummified people, incels, like cicada shells just curled up.
You just find people jerky attached to automatic blowjob machines.
Man, but this is our future. Like,
is that the app?
AutoBlow app, voice control library.
Wow.
Freestyle.
I am definitely not going to buy one of those.
I think you're going to buy one.
I'm definitely not going to see what this is about.
No, full disclosure. I remember I think they were like sending him these things to see if he would like do ads. All I know is like how sponsors are always sending him shit. So there was an AutoBlow box out there, and I really was going to take one, and I was reading the box, and it's like, I'm not logging on to jerk off. Like, I mean, in the sense that it knows. I need to. I guess we all kind of log on to jerk off.
And also, like, it knows what video I'm watching,
and it knows what I like, what patterns I like.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So that to me, but maybe there's a way to like do it offline. I don't know.
Start sending you reminders. You haven't jerked off in several weeks.
Well, that would be cool if they could figure out how many calories you're like. If they could put it in your Apple Watch.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the truth though, they know anyway. One of those companies knows everything about you. Between Apple and Google,
they know everything.
It's nothing they don't know.
They know everything. Yeah, I just started watching that Ashley Madison documentary. Have you seen it?
No.
So you remember it got hacked though, right?
I remember it got hacked, yeah.
Yeah, and so all of these people's lives were destroyed because they were so insane.
Yeah, so if y'all don't know, Ashley Madison was a dating website for cheating people.
I think it still is. Can we pull up Ashley Madison? Does this still exist?
It was a website where like you could have an affair.
You could have an affair, and
they had mind-blowingly lax security.
And they all and their commercials were like designed to be incendiary. They understood. Oh yeah, it's still there. Oh, verifying our connection. Yeah, so you can still do it, and if you do it, knowing they already got hacked once, you're out of your fucking mind. Like in anything that happens to you, you deserve. But it's amazing that couldn't stop the company. And I didn't finish the documentary, but to me, the wild thing was the idea of like going on a website to cheat, knowing like just like my wife could get into anything I do, anything. Just and even if I did find a way to like not put it on a machine that she had access to, she would know.
But you know what's wild to me? The wildest thing about this is that you can cheat on any dating website. So for you to go to a website specifically for cheaters.
Okay, but this is in the documentary. Here's the pitch. This is just like it's a married person, right? And the married person, they don't want to get caught, and you don't want to get caught. And they don't want a relationship. They just want to fuck someone new. So there's both of you have a kind of like a reason to keep it secret. You know what I mean? Versus where like if like the maniac married people who like take up with like single people, that's Dateline.
So, but how do you prove that you're a married person?
No idea how you prove that. Easily you could fake it. And I think one part of Ashley Madison, or what I always assumed it was it's prostitutes, right? The idea would be like, just if I'm a sex worker, whoa, for sure I'm going to set up my profile on Ashley Madison because some horny married dude is going to come fuck me for money.
Right.
But what was shocking about the doc is like actually it's a shit ton of like just married women who want to fool around. And they're too lazy to go like out in the world and do it. So they just went online and, basically it's the founder of it though, what I was impressed about, though I disagree with him, like he was saying infidelity leads to happier marriages. And
I can agree with, I can see the logic behind that.
But to me, like the problem with it, and I think they talked about the documentary, is it's like, yeah, the infidelity is fucked, but the real problem is the gaslighting that goes along with infidelity. The person who's with you is gaslighting you, especially if you get some weird sense like, where were you? And they're like, I was 7-Eleven. I had to car wash, whatever it was. I stayed at Lisa's house. It's like now you're like gaslighting me into believing an alternate reality. You're forcing me to like trust you, meaning I live in a distortion. That's the fucked up part.
But I will say this: some people get married and they stop dating you. You know what I mean?
It's a phase for sure.
Like you just around, and so it's almost like if I think it can help a bad relationship. In other words, if you are unfulfilled and you're in one of those relationships with like toxic communication where where the other person's like, you should just communicate, but then they make communicating with them impossible, right? Instead of you building the silent resentment from not having your needs met,
right,
you go get your needs met,
right?
And so it's a Band-Aid on a problem, but is that better than just getting divorced? I don't know.
Well, you got like listen. Everyone's living their own life. I don't want anyone who's involved in some kind of fucking affair right now to feel like I'm like shitty or whatever, because they probably already do.
Or some people feel like, hey, you know what? I look at my wife as like this precious thing that like I don't want to do certain things too. But this girl lets me, fuck her while her face is in a bucket of water until she almost drowns. And I would never do that to the mother of my children.
Right.
And you're not into that. But like, I need that.
I mean, I think I have a pretty naive feeling about it, but a lot of people would judge me for it, which is like, if you're going to do monogamy, do monogamy.
Right.
If you want to do polyamory, do polyamory. But don't do polyamory while the other person thinks they're doing monogamy, because that's just not fucking fair.
But what if that's what you want to do?
Well, in that case, I think you have to really understand that you are inviting the world to lie to you forever because you think it's okay to grift and con. And so if you think it's okay to grift and con, then that means you have invited all grifting con artists into your world. And if you get tricked in any kind of way that involves deception, gaslighting, you have to be, that's okay. I got tricked.
Okay, here's my tiny pushback on that.
Please push back.
I think that some people place an overemphasis on monogamy as the measuring stick for how well you're participating in the relationship. In other words, I think I know people that are with people that are like, not supportive, emotionally abusive, browbeating them, putting them down, like just the worst partner.
Yeah.
And then the moment they cheat, they act like all that shit they did don't count.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, no, you're the more like the person that cheated isn't necessarily the most terrible partner, right? It's like I agree with you. Like if you're gonna do monogamy, be monogamous. That should be your goal, to be honest with your partner.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like sometimes it's like you're creating an environment with your partner where they can't leave you and they also can't get what they want.
Well, I think, and again, this is, I'm fully open to all like alternate views on this, and there's so many. But I think if you're having relationship problems with your wife, going to fuck someone else as some kind of remedy for those relationship problems is like hitting yourself in the head with a hammer when you have a headache.
Right.
You're doubling the complexity in your own life. You're adding a whole new layer of complexity to your life. And to me, that's a false exit.
You can just get her falsely arrested for drug trafficking, and then while she's in prison, you move another woman into you.
So many things you could do, or just go on vacation before you leave. Like say, I'm giving you this fucking pit bull.
Right. Or you could purchase for only $300 the auto blow.
And that is going to be real fun when your browbeating, monstrous, demonic fucking wife's like, oh, so this is why you're not fucking me. Because now you have the fucking auto blow and this is what you fucking do, you piece of shit. That's all. It's just good.
Yeah, you're right.
The reality is, hey, Dante's Inferno, you want to get out of hell? You got to go straight to the fucking core. And that's how you get out of hell. If you're in that kind of situation, and you want to hang out on one of the planes of suffering,
that was always a weird one to me when I find out that there's couples where they're not he's not allowed to watch porn
oh, that's wild.
Or he's not allowed to watch like a picture on Instagram.
Dude, that's deep.
It's real
mind
deep.
Control. That's so deep when you're letting someone mind control you that much. Because then what you're on the precipice of there, by the way.
Like what, you have fantasies?
Oh, it's nuts. but if you're going to that level, and I think at that point, it's a fetish. Even if you don't want to admit it, you are now in a BDSM relationship. So at that point, what you need to do is let her put one of those cages on your dick. Because it's like, you let her be fully...
Like a chastity thing?
Yeah, a chastity thing on you. Because she's already doing it mentally. It's a mental chastity thing, which is I will be the one who makes you come in this world. No one else. It will be me. Now, that's pure BDSM. But what makes it even kinkier is you're like, this is just what marriage is like.
I mean, are we talking about like a minimum amount of comes? Because like if we setting standards,
if you are having your masturbation regulated by a woman,
right?
That is a dominatrix now. That is not your wife. That is a dominatrix, and that's hot.
Because I've never heard of a dude. I'm sure they're out there, but I've never heard of a dude with this kind of problem, like a straight man.
Oh no!
That's like, babe, you flicked your bean yesterday.
Oh, I see your vibrators on the bed.
Right, you doing it again today?
That's
interesting. Now dudes are insecure about some dudes are insecure with they won't introduce toys and stuff because it makes them feel insecure. You know what I mean?
Dude, that is so funny.
It's wild to me. I'm like, I'm going to the store with you.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's fucking awesome. Whatever the thing is.
I'm reading all the instructions. I'm learning all the modes.
Well, we would be considered freaks by a lot of people's standards, man.
I mean, maybe in the 90s.
Yeah, I've heard people are really freaky again.
Because I'll put it to you like this. Everywhere people be talking like that, there's a thriving adult store that I ain't never seen one of those go out of business.
No. They weren't
you
hit
know what
by
I'm
the
saying?
pandemic.
You could be in the most rural area with the Bible Belt, all that, and it's a fucking store that sells dildos, and that motherfucker been open for 40 years. So I ain't trying to hear all that shit from people that's like, because this is people would love to call you a pervert. No, the truth is, listen, if what you're doing isn't harming people, a pervert is just somebody that knows exactly what makes them come, and you're jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, the moment you participate in a person's fetish via some puritanical judgment, you are now into BDSM.
Exactly.
It's just another form. Like, yeah, are you whipping them or anything? No, but you're whipping them with your mind. You're like, you naughty, naughty boy. Bad, bad, bad. You've made mommy angry.
But you know what's funny? This conversation started about mindfulness and, and the Buddha and all that shit.
And that is what makes it a great podcast with you, man. Thank you so much for doing this,
brother.
man. You are
It's
the
always
best.
good to see you, man.
You're so smart. I hope you'll come back on, man. That was awesome. And I hope you start gaming. Have you started streaming?
Next month. When my studio's done.
People, you should be doing reviews. You should be doing like people would love it, man. Like your take on it is really good too. Like a lot of comics get into that stuff because they think they're gonna get downloads, but you are a gamer.
Oh,
Like,
right.
you know what I mean? Like you actually have something to offer in your like reviews. Because that review of Warhammer, that could really. I mean, it can't be that hard to do an update where people can skip the cutscenes. Like it can't be that hard.
Yeah, I should be able to skip every single dialogue thing in the game.
What if they offered it as something you could buy, like $1? Would you pay?
They would lose half the fan base.
I know, but would you pay?
No, I would stop playing the game.
Yeah, that would piss me off too.
It's like, you don't get this. You don't get to charge me full price for a game.
What if it's a quest in the game? Like you win the quest and you can skip the cutscenes. That'd be a funny quest too, with a lot of cutscenes.
Because that's like paying for monogamy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
It's like, I'll give you $1 if you don't cheat. It's like, well, you shouldn't be. Like, I won't cheat on you if you give me $1. It's like, you shouldn't be cheating on me anyway, right?
That's so sad.
Right. That's how it's like, no, do what you're supposed. You don't get paid for the minimum.
Right. Skip those cutscenes. Do it. Please help my friend here. If you make them skippable, I really will start playing.
Relic.
I could have just see it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Oh, but wait.
What? Oh,
I'll do it up front. What can I plug for you?
Live from the Mothership. It's my Netflix special.
Yeah.
And then my podcast is BS with Brian Simpson.
Okay, great.
And my and when does this come out?
This week.
Okay, so I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend.
Comedy on State, best green room in the business.
Yep, and I'll be in Philadelphia the next weekend.
Okay, great.
And then October 11th and 12th, I'm at the Wilbur Theater in Boston and the Bell House in New York City.
Beautiful. Brian, I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Later. That was Brian Simpson, everybody. A tremendous thank you to our wonderful sponsors. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.